My children now.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
You won and I died.
I'm feeling woozy, yeah. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
How's it hanging, Phil?
From the front time, yes.
Come and get it!
So either put the gun down now, or kiss your ass goodbye.
Let's get this party started.
So yeah, that episode happened. Man, oh man, do we got some stuff to talk about tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy. Let's catch up on the chat first. Hey, what is up? Not even gonna attempt it. Vajra, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna disrespect you by messing that up, but hello. What's up, Stewie? What's up, Adrian? What's up, Ashton? Terrell is here. What's up, Anthony? Oh, yeah. Good luck with graduation, man. That's awesome. What's up, Kenzie? Ashley is working tonight. Ashley will not be joining us tonight. She had to work. Yeah. Sure was. What is up? Kenzie already said that. What's up, Cam? What is up, Christopher? So, yeah, oh man, we got some stuff to talk about because while this was easily my least favorite episode of the season so far, the acting was so damn good in this episode. I think that's one of the reasons I'm so pissed at this episode because, man, it was just so, like, the acting in it is so good. Like, that's when it gets frustrating. When you watch a show like this and the acting is phenomenal, it makes you even more angry. Yes, absolutely it does. Work and family always first. Me too. Easily my least favorite episode so far. But like I said, here in a second, I'm going to let some more people funnel in, and then we're going to start at the top of the episode and work our way forward on it. But, I'm just irritated because this had two of, I think, the best scenes acting-wise of the whole season. And so to have those scenes that were so well acted and for it not to... why couldn't those scenes be in a better episode? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because those scenes were so good. So well done. I agree. Kenzie, I totally agree. What is up, Brandon? Nice to see you, brother. I had really high hopes for this episode after the preview last week of, what was to come. Like, I was really excited for that. So for it to turn into this was such a huge disappointment. But let's start at the top, guys. We start in Juniper Hills in 1935, and we see that there's this nurse named Ingrid, who we all know, and Mabel, a young girl, and they see a red balloon down in the basement, and Pennywise grabs the balloon, and that's it. That's where that ends. I don't know. Like, the way I was explaining it to my daughter, because Chloe watches it with us. So, for those that don't know Sledgehammer Horror, Chloe is my middle daughter. Kenley is my youngest. Kenley will tune in a little bit, but she's not 100% into horror. What is up, Gory? Same thing with Chloe. Chloe loves It. Like, she loves the story of It. So she watches with us, and I had to explain to her, like, this is more of like an exposition episode. This is where they're just doing a lot of explaining of things that are going to be coming up without really doing much here. She wasn't a fan of that either. But Leroy and Will get into a fight, and Leroy ends up hitting Will in the face after Will says, yeah, but I would never let my friends die. It was a little too far for Leroy. And, you know, you should never hit your kids, obviously. Never, ever, ever hit your kids. There's a difference between discipline and abuse, and hitting a kid in the face under any circumstance is 100% abuse, in my opinion. And obviously this causes a rift between those two, and a rift between Leroy and his wife Charlotte as well. So, oh man, you gotta watch those, Terrell. Dick Halloran is not a major character in either one of those movies. He's a lot bigger character in the book of The Shining, but he's not a major character. But both The Shining and Dr. Sleep are masterpieces. Dr. Sleep is actually better in my opinion. Sorry guys, I don't drink a lot of pop anymore, but I'm trying to stay caffeinated for tonight. They had the perfect use of the song Running Scared by Roy Orbison in this episode. I'm a big Roy Orbison fan. Always have been. I've always been a big fan of that style of music. And so to hear that, I thought was really cool. See, and here's the thing, Kenzie, like, I'm not in love with this series so far. I think what this series is to me as of right now is a lot of amazing moments that are in between a lot of bullshit that's not that good. There was some good practical work in this episode, I can say that, but I see where you're coming from. I love the idea of what they're doing in this series is more than I love the series itself, if that makes any sense. As a horror fan, as a Stephen King fan, as someone that's loved it since I was a very little kid, the nostalgia of it alone is worth the price of admission for me. But overall, I see where you're coming from. Doing good. Thank you for joining us, King Matthew. Like I said, there are a lot of great scenes and a lot of great things happening. But overall, it's not a great show. I can agree with that. So we have the whole town obviously is looking for Hank at this moment. Hank Grogan is out on the loose. What is up, Sean? How you doing, brother? They have the shard and they're talking about going back down to kill it. But this is where Ronnie and Lily get in a fight. And, you know, Lily's like, I wish I'd never gone to your house that night. You didn't survive it. You were up in the projection booth. You didn't see what I see. And then Ronnie's like, I wish they would have never let you out of Juniper Hills. Like, you're fucking crazy. Probably the best acted scene from the kids we've had so far. This whole sequence. It was very believable. Like, I thought this whole sequence was extremely believable on all the kids' parts. Like I said, the acting of this episode is the strongest point of this episode. There's another thing we're going to talk about here in a little bit that I thought was, like, blew me away with its acting. Halloran goes back to the barracks. Like, he's obviously not okay at this point after everything that he's seen. But the guys say, you know, hey, we got something we got to talk to you about. This is when we cut. And we go back to Will and Ronnie walking down the street. And they almost kiss, but Charlotte catches them. That part was pretty funny to me. She's like, William and Dubois Hanlon, you get in this car. And Ronnie was like, Dubois? He's like, don't ask. Like, I thought that was pretty funny. I love the connection with Will and Ronnie. And again, we're going to talk about Richie and Marge too, because I have a theory about that. But I love the connection between the kids that we're getting. I think it's really cool how they're doing that. What is up, Sean? The only thing I liked this episode was Pennywise's backstory. We will get into that. Okay, yeah, hey, we appreciate you stopping in to say hi, King Matthew, for real. Thank you. Pennywise himself, he looks so good. Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll dive really deep into that. Yeah, so Halloran goes back. You know, that now we see Ronnie and Mike Will, I'm sorry. They show him that we go back now to the barracks, and we see that Halloran doesn't know, but they're hiding Hank here. And Halloran's like, nope, leave me out of this. I want nothing to do with this. Like, I've been through enough shit today. I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And he goes to walk away. That's when Ronnie comes in. Charlotte brought Ronnie, and she goes and she sees her dad, and again, emotional moment. Her and her dad together is a great scene. But on both of their parts, very well acted here as well. Richie, this is what I wrote. Marge and Richie are cute. Now, here's a big theory that's going around, is that Marge is Richie Tozier's father, or mother, whatever. Marge in the future is Richie Tozier's mother. So what I'm thinking is we're going to lose our Richie here, and then she's going to name Richie after Richie. So I think that's a pretty good, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Like, when I heard his name was Richie, I was like, okay, And then there's obviously the rumors of Marge being Richie's mother. Maybe she never, We did a full review, but I think we're going to, before they drop the next slate of episodes, I think we're going to do another stream of predictions before the back half of the season. Yeah, I think we're going to end up doing that. One thing I do want to promote real quick, and this is something that means a lot to Ashley and I. This coming Wednesday at 8 p.m., we are going to be live, and we're doing a fundraiser. Super chats are going to be turned off. There'll be no super chats during this episode. We are adopting a bunch of kids, and we're going to be doing a Christmas fundraiser to get these kids gifts. And we're getting everything from clothes to toys to makeup to sanitary items, deodorants, stuff like that for a bunch of kids. And we're trying to, and again, we are going to supply receipts for everything. We're going to do a video showing all the gifts that were purchased for legitimacy purposes. 100% of those proceeds of Wednesday's event are going to go to the kids. Sledgehammer Horror is not keeping any of the money. And a couple of our friends are in on it with us. We've already started raising funds here in our town. We want to give these kids the best Christmas they can have. We don't want to do it through YouTube. Obviously, we're going to do the stream through YouTube, but we don't want people to donate through YouTube because, we'll break the fourth wall here. YouTube, when you get super chats, YouTube takes like 40% of that. So we don't want any of this money going to YouTube. We don't want any of it going to the pockets of Sledgehammer Horror. 100% of the money we raise is going to gifts for these children. No child should ever have to wake up on Christmas morning and not get everything they want. That's just how we feel. And if we have some type of voice that we can reach an audience, we should use that for positive. We never ask for money. We never ask for super chats. We never make you guys super chat. We always answer every single comment. We never ask you guys to be, will you please become members? Like, we don't do any of that. We let you know, yeah, it helps and we appreciate it, but we're never like, hey, if you want us to answer your chat, you have to give money. That's not who we are. We're not doing this for money. But this is a thing where I think we should try to raise money to try to help children. So on Wednesday, if you guys can make it, that would be awesome. Like I said, 100% of the money is going to go to kids. We're going to have our PayPal, all those things are going to be listed, so you can donate straight without any money being taken off the top. So, yeah. I know you guys aren't here for that right now, but I wanted to promote that. Thank you, Kenzie. That means so much. Thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that in there. So if you guys can make it Wednesday, it would mean a lot. So, okay, we know that I think Marge is going to name her son Richie after this Richie. Halloran isn't doing well. He's seeing dead soldiers, drinking heavily. It really has a hold of him, and he explains the box to Leroy. So, obviously, as fans of Dr. Sleep and The Shining, Terrell, I know you're not at that, but you'll get there. the box, what that is all of the scary things that he's seen from the time he was young to now with The Shining. If there was something really scary, he would lock it away in a box and put a lock on it so it can never get out again. And now all the stuff that he's ever been scared of is out of that box. And Leroy is talking to him, and he's like, "You got to push through, man. You're a part of the United States military, and it's your job, and we got to do what's right." And Halloran's like, "Fuck that. You want to go with Shaw, and he's got dirty boots, you fucking bootlicker." And this whole part, man, I put Chris Chalk, Halloran, is so fucking good. And he is. Like, this moment, this whole scene with him and Leroy is so damn heavy, and it's so good. This is probably and I think that's why I'm so angry about this episode, because the episode is so bad, but damn, this moment with Leroy and Halloran is so good. Like, this is probably my favorite scene of the whole show so far that wasn't horror related. What's up, Jerry? Thanks for stopping in, my friend. Yeah, this was probably my absolute favorite episode that we've had so far. I'm trying to think of the best way to segue this. So Charlotte says she's taking Will to Shreveport in the morning, and she's going to get Hank out of town. Like, that's it. She can't do this. Leroy's like, I'm trying to do what's right for my country. And she's like, you need to do what's right by Will. That's what you need to do, is you need to do that. Worry about me and your son and making us happy and making sure we're taken care of. And she's like, you put your hands on your son. And he's like, that wasn't me. You know that. He's like, I just lost my best friend down in that sewer. I almost killed my own son. I'm going through shit too. And I think this is the first moment that we've seen where Leroy really shows his vulnerability to Charlotte. We've obviously seen Leroy be vulnerable on the show, but we've never seen him be vulnerable towards Charlotte. He's always put on this strong front, this tough front in front of Charlotte, but here he's actually showing vulnerability, and she embraces him, which again is very awesome. She lets go of her anger at that moment to just be like, this is my husband, and I need to be here for him too. Like, he's going through shit too. I'm just wondering how this will end. Like, there are so many things in the series. We got the kids, we got the military, we got Pennywise. There's only 2 episodes left. Yeah, these next 2 episodes are probably going to be balls to the wall. Because as we know, season 2 goes back. Like, they don't continue this. This has to get wrapped up in the next 2 episodes. I think we're going to see some deaths in this next episode. The next episode, I think we're going to see a couple deaths. I think it's really going to be nuts in this next episode when the fire starts and you see Pennywise in the fire in the barrack. But we'll get to that in a second. We get a "You'll Die If You Try" reference, which I thought was really good. When we have Lily in class and she opens her desk and Pickle Dad's in there. "You'll die if you try." Any fans of It? Yeah, that's a quote we all know. Richie gives Marge an eye patch, and Marge finally stands up to the patty cakes. "I am a freak," and she rips her eye. That was cool. And her eye looks great. Like, I was so worried when they were getting ready to pull the patch off. I was like, this is going to look so fucking shitty. It looks awesome. Completely done practical. It looked really good, so I'm very happy that they did that. Lily just goes into Mrs. Kirsch. What's her actual name? Ingrid, the nurse from the beginning. She goes into her house, and she goes right up to her attic. And she's like looking through her stuff, and she sees photos of Bob Gray, obviously, which Bob Gray we all know is Ingrid's mother or father. Why do I keep doing that? And she admits, like, she put on her stuff. She followed the kids to the cemetery. Like, she was there this whole time. It wasn't just it. It was her too, and she was in the cemetery. She was like, of course. When she saw Lily looking at the picture of Bob Gray, she was like, yeah, it is you. Of course it's you. And she's like, I saw you guys on your bikes in the cemetery. And she had like the whole thing, like from when she was young. I can't remember what she called it. Periwinkle. Her periwinkle costume. And she was there in the cemetery with the kids that night. And she's been following him around in the costume, and she admits that her father was Pennywise the Dancing Clown. And now this is like, Chloe was like, wait, what? And I'm like, Pennywise the Dancing Clown was Bob Gray. That was a real human being, and that's where it got that form from. Pennywise the Dancing Clown, Bob Gray, was a real human being. That was a person, and it adopted that image, that name, and used it in its repertoire of things that it uses. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yes, finally her redemption arc is done. Yes, we finally like Marge. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Don't rush it, and don't leave us on some fucking cliffhanger we're never going to get an answer for. Me too. Yes. I like the "you'll die if you try" line, because when it says that, it means it is scared. Exactly. She is very creepy in this episode. Ingrid did very well in this episode. And then we find out that, at the beginning, when Pennywise grabbed the balloon, she was like, that's my dad. Like, she's thinking like that's Bob Gray, not it. She thinks that Bob Gray is still in there somewhere. And she tries to save Mabel, but Mabel's end up, she gets killed right in front of her. Like, there's a door between them, but Pennywise kills her, and then he pops up and he's Bob Gray. And he's like, it's me. All you got to do is let me in. So she's really thinking that this is Bob Gray, and he's trying to reach out to her, and she's trying to help him. She's like, whatever he has been through has changed him, but I know I can get him back, because there's this dark shadow that's always taking him back away from me. So it's one of those things where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to say at this moment, because obviously we know, following the show, that it is not Pennywise. It is not Bob Gray. It uses that image. And there's a line where, Ingrid's willing to sacrifice one of the kids to see her father again. Like, that's what, Lily's like, please don't hurt me. She's like, I would never let anything hurt you. And she's like, or my friends. And this is where Ingrid's like, wouldn't you, if you had the chance to see your father again, wouldn't you do whatever it took? And Lily just snaps back. She's like, my father's dead. Like, there's no bringing him back. And she's of that sound mind, where I don't think Ingrid is actually at that sound mind point quite yet. She's still upset, and still, because she's seeing it, which I get. She's literally seeing the image of her dad. She wants him back. I get it, even though it's not her dad. So we find out, we're getting to the end of the episode already. I don't have a lot of notes on this episode because a whole lot of fucking nothing happened. Henry Bowers. Clint Bowers was fired. They don't think that he can protect and serve anymore. And he says he knows where Grogan is. And, they're like, well, why are you telling us? And he's like, this is what I don't get. Like, did Ingrid call in the tip? Like, was she the one? He said a female called in a tip to tell him that Hank Grogan was out at the barracks. Where all how they say it, all the colored people are, because they're having that party out there. They got a live band and they're doing all their things. And he's like, well, because of that, it's a pretty good, guess to say he's out there. And I want to know who the tip is. Like, who called in this tip? I mean, obviously they're foreshadowing that it's Ingrid, Mrs. Kirsch, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me that it would be her, because she seemed like she was really in love with him, like she was sleeping with him before all this happened. So why would she take him out there just to report him? I don't get it. So hopefully, we kind of will get an understanding of who that is and why she did it. But, Richie and Margaret get alcohol while they're at the base, at this barracks with all of them. They call it an Air Force Coke. Like, she's getting all drunk and she's watching Richie play drums, which he's killing it. It's offbeat really bad if you actually watch him drum. Like, he's not actually going to the beat of the song that they're doing at all. But she's like, I love Air Force Coke. You know what I mean? Like, she's all drunk and shit. Which is weird because they're serving a bunch of kids. But there's another really, really good moment between Hank, Ronnie, and Will here, where, you know, Hank's like, you care about my daughter, and if something does happen to me, I'm really hoping, I'm glad that someone of your character is going to be looking out for her, which was, it's a great moment. And, this is where Will's like, nothing's going to happen to either one of you, not on my watch. And I'm like, damn, Will, let him know. Let him know what's up. What if Bob Gray is still in Pennywise? See, and that's, I've thought that, but then how could it, 2017, 2019, how could it still be Pennywise is what I'm, you know what I mean? What's up, Adrian? Can't get out and he's stuck. Sure, but if that's the case, like, I don't know. I hope we get an answer to it. What's up, Adrian? That scene played weird, like it was a dream or something to me. Which one, Terrell? The one of them talking, or the one of her being drunk? I literally wrote at the end, fuck this ending. I don't know if that's it, but I hate the ending of this episode. The club scene. Okay. Yeah, I think it's supposed to, because everybody's drunk. So I think, like, obviously whenever you see the kids, like, they're drinking, so they got that wobble going on. Everybody there is supposed to be drunk. So then you have them outside, and you see all these cars pull up. And they're like, yo, you want to kill the lights on your cars? And all of the people in the they get out and they have masks on. And that's where the episode ends. So next week, we're obviously going to see the firebombing of the club, the barracks, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, man. Like, I get that racism was a huge part of the book. I get that. But, man, like, not every single fucking episode has to be so into that. And I get it. Like, this part doesn't have to be all about the racism. It's because in their mind, they're hiding Hank Grogan, who they believe is a child killer. But the way that I look at this episode, and I just said it on the short, the immediate reaction video, this episode could have been condensed into 15 minutes of the next episode. There was so much of this episode that was just unnecessary, unneeded, and they, like I said, they could have just condensed it and been like, hey, this is what it is. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to, like, tiptoe around it, I guess. But there was just no reason for this episode to be as long as it was. You could have cut bits and pieces of this and made it into the next 2 episodes and then created an actual episode here. A lot of this was to set up that, if you go through the notes, really, honestly, a lot of this was to set up that Hank is in the barracks and somebody snitched on him. It set up that Ingrid's been following the kids in her periwinkle costume because she wants to know who her dad is, or if that really is her dad. And Halloran's not doing well. Like, that's pretty much what this episode set up. We didn't dive into anything else with Halloran, with his grandma or the grandpa or the box. He explains what the box is to Leroy and to us. That way we know, which we already know. But Chris Chalk is great. And then that's pretty much it. Like, going through this, it's building the relationship with Marge and Richie, so you're going to feel sad when one of them dies. I mean, that's pretty much all I get out of that. The biggest part of this episode, the 2 biggest things to me, is where Hank Grogan is and that Ingrid has actually been following the kids in a periwinkle costume. That's really what this episode boiled down to. We didn't get much else. We already know who Bob Gray is. Like, we knew all this stuff. All they're doing is telling us stuff that we already knew, like, for the cell phone world. Like, for people that are always on their phones while they're watching. You can't cater to that. You have to trust that your audience is smart enough to remember it 2017 and it 2019, and the fact that we've seen this. We know who Bob Gray is. We know who Ingrid Kirsch is. We know who Mrs. Kirsch is. We know all these things. And it's catering to the people that may not know that. And that's a bummer, because I don't think people are going into Welcome to Derry blind. I don't think people are going into this like, I've never seen it, but I'm going to start here. I don't see that happening. I think that's a huge, huge minority. I would say that 90% at the lowest go into this knowing a lot of the lore of at least 2017 and 2019 and who Pennywise is, who Bob Gray is. We figure out all that in those movies. So, yeah, that to me is why it's just like, okay, it was the club scene, yeah. Yes, so bad. It totally is a setup episode. Totally is a setup episode. And I didn't watch the aftermath of it. I went right from that. When I'm done here, I'm going to go watch the after show that they do where they kind of show the backgrounds and how they made the scenes and stuff. I'm going to go watch that, which I think next week's episode is going to be, I think next week, the penultimate episode is going to be huge. I think next week's episode is going to be balls to the wall for the whole episode. That's how I feel, in my opinion. The season is trying to be serious, but it's so cartoon, in my opinion. I only watched It Chapter 2 once, so I don't remember much from it. That's fair. I do want to show you guys something, because the official video is coming out on Tuesday. But since you guys are here live, Terrell, Warren Customs, like I said, the unboxing video will be out on Tuesday, but you guys get a sneak peek. Look at these motherfuckers, man. Tell me these aren't tough. Got me and Ashley right here on the back. We go deep in depth on it. These will never get worn, Terrell, just so you know. They're going on the background. They're going on the set. You know, we got the killer pinata down there. They're going to go back there on the set. So I just wanted to show those off. I love them. I love them, Terrell. Like I said, I'll never wear those. Those are way too special to me. I just kind of wanted to show those off a little bit. So it's nice to know that I'm not in the minority here. I thought I was going to be like the only person that did not like this episode. At the end of the episode, I was like, man, I'm probably going to be the one person that didn't like it. And everybody's going to be like, oh, Ken, you cynical asshole. Like, that's totally how I thought this was going to go. So I don't feel as bad now because I see a lot of you guys also didn't like it. So, I mean, I hate to say it makes me feel good because that's not how I want it. You know, I don't want us to dislike something. I was hoping we would all like it. I also hope we would all leave this and be like, that episode was awesome. You know, like, nobody ever wants to see things fail. At least I don't. But, yeah, man. I don't think 3 seasons are enough to get every part of the backstory. No, I don't either. Yes, yes, we do. We love them. Yes, I can't wait for you guys to watch the whole unboxing video because I think that they're so fucking cool. I think they're so cool, man. And when we get stuff like this, like, holy shit. Like, I can't explain what it means to me, you know, because I'm a fucking dork. Like, and the fact that you guys want to hang out and talk about horror with me, holy shit. And then to get something like even the tongue, guys, like the tongue is Sledgehammer horror colors. Like, man, it's so fucking cool. Yeah, I was all over the place. Yeah, man. Well, see, I didn't like it. I got cheated over the end. Yeah, man, like, this is the worst ending we've had so far. Because it's not even the fact that it's like a cliffhanger. It's what the cliffhanger is. Because I'm ready to see that scene. You know, we've seen it since the first trailer when they're all in there in the fire and Pennywise is reaching his hand out and he grabs somebody's hand. We don't know whose hand yet, but he takes somebody's hand, you know. So what are some of your guys' predictions for next week? Because I would love to know what your guys' predictions for that too. And tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, our new episode of Villain of the Month comes out. It's December already, guys. Which is also just insane to me. But Villain of the Month tomorrow, Billy Chapman of Silent Night, Deadly Night. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Ashley worked her ass off on this episode. And then Wednesday, we have Joey Marsh of the Marvel and DC Marshlands, his My First Horror Movie. And Friday will be our Five Nights at Freddy's 2 review. So I hope you guys can tune in for that. And like I said, Wednesday evening is our fundraiser for Christmas presents for kids. So if you could, come down for that. Share that episode out. Try to get as many people over to it as we can. We want to blow people away with the amount of gifts we get for these kids. I want these kids to have the best Christmas they've ever had. And obviously it's anonymous. The kids won't know that it came from us. We want them to think it came from their parents and Santa and all the great things. But I want to be able to know that Sledgehammer Horror was able to provide the best Christmas for these kids that they could possibly have. That would mean a lot to me. Like, I don't ever go into this for greed. But if we could do this for these kids, I think that would be great. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, Wednesday night will be that. Next Sunday, we'll be back for Welcome to Derry, Episode 7, After Party. And like I said, we got my first horror movie this week with Marvel. We have Villain of the Month tomorrow and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 review on Friday. Very excited for that. And I actually today recorded my top 10 least favorite horror movies of 2025. That was recorded today, so that'll come out in January. So I hope you guys all have an amazing night. Thank you again for stopping by. It really means a lot. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help build the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Those links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.